As chairman of the Congressional Prayer Caucus, Randy Forbes, who represents the 4th Congressional District in Virginia, is well known for protecting our nation's spiritual heritage. Not so well known is the fact that he drives a tractor to his campaign office in Chesapeake and lives on a boat while staying in Washington, D.C. First elected in 2001, Randy has brought new ideas to Congress and has consistently encouraged young people to think outside the box when it comes to new energy sources and methods of economic recovery. I wanted to know if people my age should be concerned about future jobs given the current path of government, and if there is anything the government can do to make jobs more available.
The bottom line is I travel around the country and talk to CEOs from major corporations, and all of them say with one voice, the number one thing we have to do is stop what the federal government is currently doing, which is mortgaging your future by spending this enormous amount of debt. Just 2 weeks ago, in one day, we had the 3rd largest deficit of a single day in the history of the United States. Most people look at that and they say, well, what does that matter? What it matters is it always equates to killing jobs because it takes away the resources that we have to invest in businesses. The second big thing that we do is every time we raise taxes on a business, we're making them compete with companies around the world that don't have that kind of taxation. Exactly. And every time we allow this litigation to come on these companies, we're destroying jobs and careers for you and individuals across the country.
I was also curious to know that as chairman of the Congressional Prayer Caucus, if it was difficult and embarrassing for Congressman Forbes to go into room 219 by himself for a little while at the beginning of each week and pray for the country.
You feel a little bit embarrassed sometimes. You're questioning, am I doing the right thing? Today, though, on that prayer caucus, we will have standing room only of members coming in from Republicans and Democrats who coming in who recognize that the way we change this country is through our faith and our morals and our characters. It's what built the country, that's what will keep it strong. So the one thing that I would just say to everybody listening to this, it doesn't matter what your age or where you are, you can, as just one person, make an enormous difference if you'll just have the strength to stand on your character and your faith and where you are. And ask the question if it's right, not whether or not everybody else thinks it's right.
I asked Congressman Forbes if there's a picture award in his Washington, D.C. office that he is particularly proud of, and he told me that he had 2 favorites that were from the United States Navy and the Army, which gave him the highest possible civilian award for helping the military.
But I'll also tell you, and this is not just words, it's when we get a letter from an individual lady or a young person and where they say, you know, what you did here really impacted my life. Those are the things that you really cherish and really make a difference.
I told the congressman that people my age often have to decide between what's right and what gets us further ahead. I asked him if, as a politician, he has to choose between his own moral values or what is politically necessary for achieving the end goal.
The votes that I've taken throughout my career, oftentimes the ones I'm proudest of are the ones that I took a vote on that everybody said was a bad vote. It was politically bad at the time. They always turned out to be very smart votes. One of the most important ones, I was one of 17 members of Congress to vote against every one of the bailout bills and stimulus bills that went through Congress. At that time, we got a lot of criticism. Today, most people in Congress will agree you were right, and if we'd have done that, we wouldn't have had the huge deficits that we have today.
Finally, my most important question was if it is true that he stays on a boat rather than an apartment while in Washington, D.C.
I love the water, and of course, you know, growing up in Virginia, we're around a lot of water, and all of a sudden I just realized, why do we always have to do things the way everybody else has done them? So I bought an old boat, I completely redid it, and I did a lot of it myself, but I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Randy Forbes understands the issues that are important to people my age and gives us a voice in Washington. If you are ever there, be sure to look for him on the water after a day of supporting legislation that makes a difference for the next generation.